Hello students, I hope you all are doing well and taking care properly. So in the previous class we started the new chapter, that is force and pressure, and we understood the meaning of force, the different effects of the force, and that we did with the help of the examples, and I hope you understood those concepts. Now today we are going to take the next topic we have, that is the different types of the forces we have. So today we will see what are the different forces we have in the nature, how are they different from each other and how are they similar with each other. So at the end of the class you will be able to compare all the forces. So let's start the class. So the topic we have today is contact and non-contact forces. So let's start. And very first we need to understand one concept, that is forces are due to interactions. The meaning is, if we understood in the previous class, any force will take place only if there is an agent of force, and there is an object. Now the second concept is the agent of the force and the object must interact with each other, then only the force is possible. Means if they are not interacting with each other, then force cannot come into play. And take the very first example, like if anyone is trying to lift the object, like a person is holding and lifting the object. So to lift the object using the body, we must hold the object properly, otherwise it's not possible to lift the object by our body. So this is one of the interaction. So the object is the load and the agent is the person who is trying to lift the object. So this is the interaction which is done with the help of the contact between the agent and the object. Another example is, a magnet can also apply force and can attract the magnetic material. But the magnetic material can be attracted by any magnet within some space. Means within some distance it is possible. If you keep the iron pieces or magnetic material very far away from the magnet, then magnet will not be able to attract it. So we can say there is no interaction. So interaction is within some space, within some distance, the object and the agent must be interacting with each other, otherwise the force may not take place. So in first example, a direct contact is required, that is to lift the object with the help of body. And in second case, the magnetic material may not be in contact, but still it has to be placed within some distance, and that is called within some magnetic field of the magnet, then only the magnet can attract. So if it is placed outside the magnetic field, so we can say the magnet is not able to interact with the iron or magnetic material, and hence it cannot attract it. So this is very important, otherwise the force is not possible. So based on this, how the agent will interact with the object so that the force can be there, we have two different types of the force, that is contact force and non-contact force. So let's understand the meaning of these two forces with the help of examples. So very first, contact, the meaning you can read out, then we'll understand also. The force which can act only if there is a physical contact between the agent of force and the object. Means if direct contact is there, means the agent, the one who is applying the force, is in direct contact with the object, then only if force is possible, then we can say this force will come under contact force. Okay, so example we have muscular and friction force. So we'll understand this one by one so that you'll have the clarity of this contact force. So very first, muscular force we have. So we know, like, our body parts can apply the force to do lots of work. So with the help of our body parts we are doing lots of work. So that force which is applied with the help of the muscles of the body is called muscular force. And in this kind of force, without direct contact with the object, the force is not possible. Means the first example you can see, a bowler is throwing the ball. So the agent is the bowler and the object is the ball. So to throw the object, the ball, or to apply the force on the ball, the bowler has to touch the ball, hold the ball. So without touching and holding the ball, that is without direct contact, he cannot apply his muscular force and cannot throw it. So for the muscular force, this contact is very important. Second, if someone is doing weightlifting also with the muscular force, then it is also not possible without touching the weight. So if you are trying to lift anything with the help of your muscles or your body, you need to hold it. So in the weightlifting also, muscular force is there, and that is only possible if there is a direct contact between the weight and the body. Cycling, when you do the cycling also, again you are applying the force, muscular force, and with the help of muscular force you are pedaling the cycle, and for pedaling also the contact is important, otherwise you can't apply the force of your body. So these are the only 3 examples, but the lots of examples we have in the daily life where we apply the muscular force, like writing with the pen also is a muscular force, and to write with the hand we need to hold the pen, otherwise not possible. So I hope you can find out more examples from daily life. Next we have friction, and you should know one thing, that friction is a separate chapter we have in class 8, so we'll understand friction in detail way later on, but today you should know the meaning, and at least you should be able to find examples, and you should know why it is under contact force. So very first you need to read the statement to understand the concept. It is the force which acts between the surface of two objects which are in physical contact and in relative motion with respect to each other. So this is one thing, we'll understand, don't worry. Second, this force always acts in opposite direction of applied force and opposes the motion of the object. Now you can see this object and the person. So you can see one person is applying the force and trying to pull the object. So when he is trying to pull the object in right hand side, then earth will try to give the backward force to the object, that will be left hand side. So here we can say this object is trying to move against earth. Okay, so since the person is applying the force right hand side, the friction will be left hand side. So this force friction is between the surface of the object, that is the lower surface, and the surface of the earth or the ground. So between the surface of the earth or the ground and the surface of the object there is a force, and that force is friction. But this friction will come into play only if one object will try to move against the other. So this heavy object is trying to move against the earth, so the friction force will come into play, and this force is not possible if the object is not in direct contact with the surface. So one thing is there. Second thing is, so relative motion is nothing but one is trying to move against other. Second thing, it is always opposite to the applied force. So the person is applying the force right hand side, so friction will be opposite, left hand side. And third one, because of the friction the object will always slow down. Means this friction always try to oppose the motion of the object. That's why any ball moving on the ground, with the time it comes to rest, because the force is given to the ball by the earth, and because of that force, which is in backward direction, opposite direction, with the time the ball comes to rest. So the only thing you should know in the friction force, very first, the contact is important. Without contact one surface cannot give the force to the other, and why this friction force comes into play, and the complete concept we will do in the chapter only, in the friction. So another example, when you are running also or walking on the ground, you also give force to the earth, and the earth is giving you backward force. Both things are there. So in general, when you are moving on the ground, you must experience, you basically give backward force to the earth. So you give backward force to the earth and you move forward. So since you are giving backward force to the earth will give you forward force, and that is called force of friction. So when you are running or walking on the ground, force of friction is along the direction in which you are moving, and the force you are applying is backward. So this you should imagine and you should also experience when you are running or walking on the ground. So the overall meaning is force of friction is the force between any two surface, and this force comes into play if one force when one surface or object will try to move against the other. Third, this friction force is always opposite to the opposite to the applied force. And third one, it always opposes the motion. So that is to be understood now. So there are lots of examples in the real life. Even if you are holding something, when you hold something without friction, you can't hold. So if the object is very slippery, it's difficult to hold. So we can say the friction is very less. If we have oil on this surface of earth, then it's difficult to walk on that surface, because the surface is having oil, will have very less friction, and without friction you cannot fix yourself properly with the ground. So for fixing and gripping, the friction is very important in the real life. So basically friction has advantages and disadvantages both, that we'll see in the chapter only. So I hope at least you understood the meaning. Next we have non-contact force. So what you understood, it will be just opposite. The force which can act without direct contact between the agent of force and the object. Means even without contact, if the force can act, then that force will come under non-contact force. So 3 examples I have taken in this class: gravitational, magnetic and electrostatic. So let's understand the meaning one by one. So very first we have gravitational force. So in general, it is a force that attracts any objects with mass. One more thing you should know, that this gravitation, again we have one particular chapter in class 9th where we'll have complete explanation and concepts of the gravitation, but in this class again you should know briefly the meaning and the examples from the real life. So in general, any object which has mass, and any mass is any object which has mass is nothing but matter. So any matter is capable to apply force to other matter, and that force is also called force of gravitation. So you should know, even your body is a matter, and even you are applying force to other objects around you, and that force is force of gravitation. But this force is not felt by you because your mass is very less. Okay, so same force become active when the mass is very high. That is, if you see, the earth is able to attract everything towards itself. Why? Because the earth is quite heavier, and because of its heavy mass, the force become active, and you can see lots of natural phenomena that is possible only because of force of gravitation. So one thing you should know, any object which has mass is capable to apply force to other matter, and that force is called gravitational force, and that force is always attractive in nature. So the force is always attractive in nature and depends on the mass of the objects and distance between the object. So how much is this force? That totally depends on overall the mass of the objects. That is, we know whenever we talk about the force, we have the agent and we have the object. So force of gravitation between the agent and object will depend on the mass of both the agent and the object. Okay, so and second thing is, how much is the distance between the agent and the object. So this force can be given without direct contact, and hence how much is the distance between the two will decide how much is the force of gravitation. So the best example we have, the earth attracts anything towards itself, and that is only because of force of gravitation or gravity or gravitational force. That is same thing. So we know anything is attracted towards the earth. And why? Because earth is quite heavy, it has very high mass or heavier, so anything is attracted. And any object is just attracted by the earth cannot push any object back. So that's why we say the force of gravity is attractive in nature. So we might have heard about the story of apple falling down, because the force of gravity or gravitation was basically explained by Newton. So if anything is falling down, the earth and the object is not in direct contact, but then also the object is able to move downward because of force of gravitation. That's why we say it is under non-contact force. Another example you should know, the solar system exists only because of force of gravitation. So the sun is applying force to all the planets, or we can say the sun is holding all the planets within the system only because of force of gravitation. Okay, so force of gravitation has lots of applications in the real life. Even if you are able to stand on the ground, it is only because of force of gravitation. The earth is holding you down. Otherwise, if you go to the surface of the moon, you start flying. Why? Because there the force of gravitation is very less. So force of gravitation is there on the moon also, but that is very less as compared to the earth. And if you move to some other planets, it is also possible the force of gravitation can be stronger than the force of gravitation we have on the earth. So since different planets have different masses, and moon has less mass as compared to the earth, so we can say moon will apply less force as compared to the earth. So somehow directly the force of gravitation depends on the mass. So heavier is the mass, stronger will be the force. The one thing. Second thing is, if the distance is very high, then force will be quite less. If the distance is very less, the force will be high. So overall force of gravitation depends on both the mass of the object and the agent and the distance between the two. So we'll see more about it in 9th class. In 8th class, that is more than enough, because the topic itself is not so limited. It is very advanced topic, so cannot be properly explained in class 8th. Magnetic force. We know a magnet can attract the other magnet or can repel the other magnet. So between the two magnet, the force can be there, or a magnet can attract the magnetic material also, like iron can be attracted by the magnet. So these forces are nothing but the magnetic force, that is the forces between the magnets, or force between the magnet and a magnetic material can be called as magnetic force. And we know this force can be attractive or repulsive in nature. So a magnet can attract the other magnet, it can repel the other magnet, and based on this we can understand that the force can be attractive or repulsive in nature. So this we have done in class 6th, that is in the chapter Fun with Magnets. So we know the magnet has two poles, north and south, and north and south poles of the magnet will always attract each other, and similar poles will repel. So south and south poles will repel, north and north poles will repel. So you can see it can be attraction, it can be repulsion. So that is how the magnetic force can be different. It can be attractive or repulsive both in nature. And the iron pieces or iron pins we have, they are always attracted. So in general, the magnetic material is always attracted by a magnet, so that force will be always attractive, and magnet can attract another magnet and can repel also. So based on this we can say the magnetic force can be attractive or repulsive in nature. So we know like poles of magnet repel and unlike poles attract each other, and a magnetic material is always attracted by a magnet. So iron nail will be attracted by the magnet. Iron filings also we might have seen in class 6, always attracted by the magnet, that cannot be repelled by the magnet. So this is how you can differentiate the force. Now third one is electrostatic, which is related with the charges. So electric charge we'll discuss in one of the chapter we have, that is some natural phenomena, where we'll discuss about the property of charge, meaning of charge or electric charge. But in this chapter again we should know the meaning of the force. So in general, even the electric charges can have the force between them, and that force is called electrostatic. So the force between electric charges is called electrostatic force. So you should know electrostatic has two different words. One is electro, which is coming from electron. So electron is something which is there within the atom, that is charge. Okay, and static means stationary, means at rest. So we can say when the charges are at rest, they apply force to each other, and that force is called electrostatic force. Now next thing we should know, in general we have two different types of the charge, that is positive and negative charges. And positive is shown with the help of plus sign, and negative charge is shown with the help of minus sign. And it is similar with the magnet somewhere. We know the north and north will repel, south and south will repel, north and south will attract. Same like charges will repel and opposite charges will attract. So we can say positive and positive charge will repel with each other. Negative and negative also will repel each other, and positive and negative will attract each other. So even this force can be attractive or repulsive in nature. So we can say this force can be attractive or repulsive in nature. So let's see the examples. So you might have experienced it. Sometimes you feel like when you're combing your hair, the hair get attracted by the comb. So this is just because of electrostatic force. So we can say in that case the comb is also charged, means the comb is having the charge, and the hair is also having charge. And then charge and charge will apply the force to each other, and the hair get attracted. So this is just because of electrostatic force. But how the comb gets charged, how the hair gets charged, we'll see in the chapter natural phenomena. So another example, you might have heard about the hair and comb experiment, or the paper can also be attracted by the comb. So one experiment you can try at home. Take the small pieces of paper, very small pieces of paper, and keep those paper on the any surface, and then take the comb or the scale, plastic scale or the comb, and rub it properly on your hair, but the hair should be dry. And after rubbing it for 1 or 2 minutes, you bring the comb or the scale near by the small pieces of paper, you'll see the paper will be attracted. So paper will be attracted. This is just because of electrostatic force. Another example you can try, take a small pieces of aluminium. So aluminium foil you have at home, convert those into small pieces, and then again rub your comb or your scale on your hair for 1 or 2 minutes, but the hair should be dry enough, and then bring that comb or the scale near by the aluminium foil. You will see the aluminium foil can also be attracted. So this is also because of electrostatic force. So we can say the object can get charged, and once the object gets charged, it can also apply force to the other object, and this force is called electrostatic force. So based on this, now let's see some notes. We have 3 notes which are very important. You might have heard about atom. So atom is the smallest part of any matter. Like the smallest part of the living body is cell. So for any matter, the smallest part is one atom, and one atom has different components. So this atom is spherical somehow, which is not so visible, but it is just believed it is spherical, and at the center it has a nucleus, and outside the nucleus there are different orbits in which different electrons are moving. So something like solar system. In the solar system we have the sun at the center, and different planets are moving in different orbits. Same like we have within the atom. So within the atom at the center we have the nucleus, and outside the nucleus we have different orbits in which different electrons are moving. So this is the structure. Within the nucleus we have 2 different particles called neutron and proton. Proton is basically positive charge, neutron is no charge, chargeless. Electron, which is moving in the orbit, it is negative charge. So in the atom we have positive charges, protons, we have negative charges, electrons, and no charge, that is neutron. So even within the nucleus there is a very strong force, that is between the proton and the neutron, and that force is called nuclear force. So the force between protons and neutrons within the nucleus of atom is called nuclear force, and this force is the strongest force in nature, you should know. So if you compare all the forces that we know, the nuclear force is the strongest one. Means it's difficult to separate the proton and the neutrons, because they are hold it, they are together with a very strong force that is called nuclear force. So in general we can say we cannot separate the protons and the neutrons, we cannot destroy the nucleus of the atom. This is the concept. So even this nuclear force is a kind of electrostatic force only. Next, we should know, if you compare all the force, then gravitational force is the weakest one. It's not so strong force, but it becomes stronger when we have a large mass. I told you, like, even you are able to apply force to the other. Means if you are standing nearby any other person, you are also trying to attract that person with the force of gravitation, but you know the other person is not attracted towards you, he is not being pulled towards you, because in that case the force given by you is very less, very small, so that force is not even felt by you. But the same force we can see when we see the earth is able to attract anything, because in this case earth is quite heavy, the mass is very high, and that's why the force become high. So in general the force of gravitation is not so strong, it's one of the weakest force we have in the nature, but this force can increase with the increase in the mass, and when it becomes very heavy then only we can feel it, but even then this force of gravitation is not so strong force. Okay. Number 3, a charged object always attracts the uncharged or neutral object. So the object can be charged, and when we talk about charged object, the object can be positively charged or negatively charged. Means object can have positive charges, the object can have negative charges. So we can say these objects are charged, but it is also possible the object can be uncharged, means there are no net positive or negative charges. But in general you should know, even if the object is neutral or no charge, it can be attracted by other charged object, and that is also called electrostatic force. So you can see in general, take the example of the traction of the paper by the comb. So when you rub the comb on your hair and you'll try to attract the pieces of paper, so in this case your comb is basically charged. Okay, when you rub it on your hair, the comb gets charged, but the small pieces of paper are still not charged. So we can say in this case paper is neutral, no charge, and your comb is charged, but still that paper which is neutral gets attracted by the comb. So in general, all the time the neutral object is attracted by the charged object. This you have to remember. Again, why, we'll see. So that is the end of the class today. We have seen the different types of the forces, we have different examples of the force which are there in the nature, and you need to explore more and more to know more about the forces, and with the classes you will see more and more concepts. So for 8th class at least you should know the meaning of the forces and the nature of the force. Now let's see if you can answer the questions given to you. So very first, write any two differences between electrostatic force and gravitational force. So you have understood both the forces one by one. So let me see if we can find any two differences between the gravitation and electrostatic. Second question, gravitational force is weaker than electrostatic force. Justify this statement with the help of any activity. So we understood the force of gravity is not so strong, and even this force is not so strong, means not even stronger than the electrostatic. So how you prove it that force of gravitation is weaker than the electrostatic? So you have to explain it with the help of some activity. Any one activity you have to explain, so that it will prove that force of gravitation is weaker than electrostatic. Question 3,
It says, how can you prove that the magnetic force is non-contact force? Explain. So this is a simple question you have. We understood the contact and non-contact force. So how will you prove that magnetic is non-contact? But you have to explain it properly. So we'll continue this chapter, and any doubt you have, write down, and we'll discuss in the live session very soon. But the thing is, science can be understood when you really try to relate the concepts with the real life. So based on the concepts, find out examples from the real life and understand the concepts properly. So you need to have imagination, and that is very important part of science. Without imagination, you can't understand the concept. Okay, so we'll continue for today. Done. Thank you. Hari Om and take care.